We want to partner community leaders, mayors, commissioners, Board of Education members, representatives, senators, even Dr. Pruden has volunteered to head the charge, and he and maybe members of his cabinet will do the same. We're going to partner them up with teacher leaders in Brunswick County from kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade. And for a day, you will build lessons together, instruct class together, attend lunch duty together, do PLC conversation together, maybe even work parking lot duty together. Have an opportunity to truly have an engaged dialogue about what's happening in our school buildings on a daily basis. I think that it's important that community leaders have an informed voice about what is happening in our schools. And the best way to do that is to invite them in and allow them to have the experience. We are in the midst of massive curriculum changes across this state that we have embraced. We have embraced Common Core, we have embraced the new essential standards, and one core tenet of that is active engagement. So let's model that by engaging our community actively, by giving them a chance to be teachers too. So I look forward to rolling it out. Ms. Swinsky and I are going to be working on the details. I'll be sending you an invitation, and I hope you choose to participate. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much. That's very exciting, I think.
Can I ask her a question?
Yeah.
Are you also going to try to include community, like executives in the community, bankers, other businesses, or mainly just the?
I think the sky's the limit.
Okay.
I would like to see this become an annual event in Brunswick County Schools, and I would like it to be almost a badge of honor that community leaders, business leaders in our community say that they have taken an active part in this education engagement experience. So yes, I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
Reporters might be.
Yeah.
There's one in the back, one in the back too.
TV personalities.
Yeah.
I do want to call on this one.
Okay. Okay, under presentations, Ms. Lewinsky, I believe you're going to give us a brief media presentation.
Thank you. Good evening. I would like to actually, thank you. This is your magic mouse back there. All right. So I wanted to, for MMIR tonight, I would like to share a tool for communication that we have actually had available since April of last year, but it's just now gaining momentum, and I would like to share it with you. It's actually Brunswick County Schools' Facebook page. And right on the home page of our site, of our website, there is actually the icon that has a little Facebook icon. So anyone, you do not have to be a Facebook member, can actually click on that Facebook link on our home page and actually let you see what we are talking about on our Facebook page. So you can see, if you're not a member of Facebook, up in the right corner, Brunswick County Schools is on Facebook. To connect with Brunswick County Schools, sign up today. You don't have to sign up to actually see what we're talking about. So right now, we have 279 followers, or people who like us. This is not a page where we have friends, and it's not a type friend page. It's actually a business type page where we can post information, and from that information, we can engage in dialogue with the folks who are reading and looking at the information that we're posting. So Mr. Dean, would you mind scrolling down for me a little bit? One of the things that we're trying to do is to make sure that all media coverage that the system is getting is actually being reposted on our Facebook page. Many times people do miss it. If you miss the news sometimes, or if you miss the newspaper article, you're not going to see it. So you will see on the right page, here's a perfect example. All of those news media pieces will have the tag in case you missed it. And that is a direct link to either the video or to the story that has been posted about Brunswick County Schools. You'll also notice that we also post informational things like the Board of Education meeting time and location has changed. And if you'll scroll down, I'd like to talk about this one on the foster and adoptive homes needed in Brunswick County. This is an example of community partnerships, along with some other posts that we've done with communities and schools. This particular request came from the Department of Social Services because we have a great need in Brunswick County for foster and adoptive parents. We were able to post this, and you see that a parent commented back. I would love to, but Thursday night classes are a no-go for me. Are they ever offered on another day? I was able to respond because when a comment is posted, I get an immediate email alert, so I can see what's being said at any given time that I look at my smartphone. I was able to say, well, I'll forward, it's a great question, I'll forward it, and then you'll see that Ms. Jones did respond to the question, and from the result of that, she called me the next day, and she had already had 5 individuals call her and take advantage of this, who had seen this on our Facebook page. So that, to me, is a great way to get other information out. You'll see communities and schools. We've posted information about volunteer training, about after-school programming, and if you'll scroll down, if we're in our schools, occasionally you catch those moments. On the left side, these are students at Union Elementary, kindergartners, who are in the lunchroom for the very first time. That is their first school meal right there. You see students who are in kindergarten on their first morning at Jessie May Monroe on the right. Our What Went Right story is there, and if you'll continue to scroll down for me, so what you have is basically a chronology of history of things and comments that people are making, and as it's loading, probably one of the best examples of why this is a great tool for us to communicate with is that it does give us an immediate opportunity to help rectify maybe misinformation that is out there in the community. So it's a tool for that. We actually know that we had a Cedar Grove school issue with the septic right on the I think it was the second day of school. So we had to close school early, about an hour early that day. The next day we actually had a post placed on the same feed from a parent that said something to the effect of, and if it will ever load, we can show you, but it basically said, so you closed school yesterday, and today a bus runs out of gas. Really? That was the post, okay? So what a great opportunity for me at that point to actually get on the phone and call Bobby Taylor. The thought of a bus running out of fuel is almost improbable, to be quite honest with you. So I knew there had to be more to the story. So we were able to call, and Bobby was immediately able to respond and say, yes, we did have a bus that needed to be swapped on the route today because of steering issues reported by the driver. Our drivers are instructed for safety reasons to always let us know immediately, and we will bring that bus into the garage and we will bring a replacement bus. I was able to post that information, and within 10 minutes the parent actually reposted and said, thank you so much for the clarification. Sorry. So it's one of these opportunities that we have the ability to help spread the correct information through this medium. So we're really pleased that this is a communication tool. I will be using this tool for MMIR in the months ahead so that we can actually show you some of the links to the stories that we're posting from our media outlets. And we just continue to hope that people will like our page or will see the information that we have available. There will be things on the Facebook page that don't necessarily rise to the level of the internet, the website posting, but it's still a great piece and tool for information for our stakeholders. So I just wanted to share that with you tonight, and we want to encourage any individual to continue to look at it. One other piece of information I want to share is that diagnostically, Facebook gives me a weekly report just to see how many people have we reached in the course of the week. Now, reach is I'm sending it to someone else is talking about it. During the first week of school, even though we only have 279 likes at this time, our reach was over 7,000 people in the very first week of school. It's a great tool for communication.
Twitter, is it still?
We have, yes sir, we do. We actually do have our Twitter account. Twitter is on the home page as well, so you can click on the Twitter feed and see the information that we have on our Twitter as well.
Are you getting a lot of followers there?
We don't have as many followers on Twitter as we do on Facebook because we've actually used ConnectEd to remind parents that we have a Facebook page.
Right.
I think thank you Mr. Jenkins, once we actually get the word out more so about our Twitter feed, I think we'll have plenty of followers. And for us, Twitter is really used as an emergency alert system.
That's what I was thinking.
It's a really short piece of message that you just want to get the information out. The other reason that we really think social media is important is that it's a tool for alternate communication. Should we ever have a situation where our servers are down at the central office via a storm or any other situation with our servers, we could not access the web page, but families could access the Facebook page and still receive information from us because that is not managed through the servers of Brunswick County Schools. And the best testament to that I've ever heard is the story of the superintendent of Joplin, Missouri, because that was the only tool for communication that they had after the tornadoes actually hit their town. It brought that entire town together through Facebook. So it's just an alternative. It's a good alternative for us to have for communication. So please enjoy it. Go on occasionally and check the links to all of our media stories, and we're going to continue to update it. Thank you.
Thank you. We're really getting ahead with all that. That's a wonderful way of showing we're trying to communicate with the public, and we want to hear everything you have to say.
That's exactly right.
And just like you said about the lady that made the statement about running out of gas, sometimes it's misinformation. Sometimes, you know, it may really be valid, but we still want to, if there's something wrong, we want to try to do something about it and make it right. And we like to get the accolades once in a while too. So thank you. Okay, next we have a approval of the meeting agenda. When Catherine and I met with Dr. Cruden to discuss the agenda, decide what the agenda would look like, that's the day that I heard about the approximately $100,000 that the soccer club had asked that we give to build a field at Cedar Grove. And so since that time I have talked with all the board members about it. I try to get the information exactly how it happened. Scott Phillips goes to my church, so last night when he came in, I talked with him about it. And there was questions about whether, since we didn't own that property, if it was legal for us to give the money for it. And our attorney, in his first review that he advised it was not legal. Then I began to tell him that the way we work in Brunswick County with the Parks and Recreation is not just per school. We have an agreement for the whole school system. So maybe I should have waited to put this on the agenda, but anyway, we have an agreement with the whole school system. So there may be a way we can do it since that's the way we do it. And also the Cedar Grove and Town Creek, the schools like that are owned by the county commissioners, and I didn't know you knew that, whether you knew that or not, as long as we owe for them, because they have to own them in order to pay for them. And then they deed it back to the school system. So we actually don't even own the school and the property that's there. I suggested to Scott that he discuss this with the county commissioners and send us a formal request for us to put the lights out there. And I, for one, would like to see us do it. We have problems. Some discussion we've had about it now is that we have many soccer fields in the county that are on school grounds that do not have lights either. Then when you look at that, though, these children that are going to be playing there are from the Cedar Grove community, so they're going to be our students anyway. So I would just suggest to the board that for the next meeting we have, even if it's one this month, that we put that on the agenda and get the rest of our information and see what we can do about it. Is that all right with everybody? Okay, thank you. Okay, are there any changes now to the agenda? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda,
So
meeting agenda? Charlie?
So moved.
Charlie makes the motion. Who's second?
Second.
Catherine, to it. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion is carried. The next we have the approval of several minutes for August the 7th Board of Education regular meeting, August 15th Board retreat, August 21st 2012 Operations Committee meeting, and August 21st 2012 Human Resources meeting. Do I hear a motion that we approve the minutes for these meetings? Or any questions or?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to accept the minutes for those meetings.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Does anyone like to change anything? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we have our consent items for approval. Do I hear a motion to approve these consent items?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. And somewhat, there's nothing else for me. Oh, I see. Okay, but this, no, see, that doesn't have it on the back. Okay, next, for approval, we have the Parent Advisory Council list. Is that up there? It's in our packet, or in my packet. I have,
Do we have it, sir?
I have it in mine. Do you all have it? I noticed that North Brunswick High School did not list any, Lincoln Elementary did not, Jesse Maiden Road. Are they just, you think they're just?
Still working on the list with that.
Yeah. I have a couple, there's one for South Brunswick High School, and I'd like to add that if we meet again this month, or when we meet next month, and then I have one for, well, right now, I can't remember. Oh, I know, West Brunswick, West Brunswick High School. She's a doctor, and her first name is Dr. Andrea, and I'm supposed to know the last name, but does anybody know where she was? She's in Calabash. Nance, Dr. Andrea Nance. My daughter's the one that told me about it. And so, since I know that one, could we add that one tonight to West Brunswick? There's that. They got a lot there, but I really think she would add to that school.
When is the first PAC meeting?
Thursday.
And it's where's it held?
It's Tuesday the 18th.
Tuesday the 18th?
Yes, sir.
At where?
The first one is going to be at Brunswick Academy, PCA.
At 6:30?
Yes, sir. Ms. Cook is the host board member.
Madam Chair, the schools that does not have anyone on the list thus far, will they have someone to represent them next Tuesday?
We'll work on that.
That we're working on.
Yeah, we might.
And we'll certainly, each school will be represented, even if the list isn't complete.
All right. Good. And is it all right if we add Dr. Nance's name on the list?
Which one was that?
West Brunswick. She has a child with children.
Well, we're not approving this tonight. Are we going to approve tentatively what we've got tonight?
I would think it would be well to approve this tonight, and then the people that are added to it the next time will approve those. It'll make it official to go ahead and approve it. Unless you'd rather wait.
And in the past, did the principals contact the board members in their respective school district to determine who is on the PAC?
That's what our policy says. I haven't been contacted.
No, ma'am.
So would you rather just wait until you can talk to the principals? Any of you?
I don't have any concerns with what names have been submitted.
I don't either, because if we have a name that we want to add to it, we certainly can do that. But I would like for them to try to contact us. So do I hear a motion one way or the other?
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the Parent Advisory Council members list.
Second?
Second.
if you don't mind, with Nance, Dr. Nance.
Yes, Dr. Andre Nance. Dr. Pruden, I would ask you on behalf of the board to remind the principals of the policy.
Yes, ma'am.
And they can leave us a message if we're not hunting or, something like that, but at least try to contact us and let's talk about it. Because this is supposed to be a committee that actually was there to help inform the principal what's going on at school or discuss it, but then I like to know some of them sometime too, so that I can, they like to get information to me, not particularly if they have a problem or something, but I just like to be more involved with the schools.
And the maximum limit is what, 7? Is that what
We said
policy?
that. But,
7.
I don't know. Let's see, now, where am I living? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion's carried. Next, we have the budget amendments.
Yes, Ms. Babson, we have several budget amendments. The first two go together in that the first one, local number 2, is to appropriate funds out of local fund balance for $249,717, which will be transferred to capital outlay for the purchase of 3 new school buses. So that takes care of local number 2 and capital number 2. The next one, Fund 8, number 2. This is an adjustment to the carryover to reflect payments that have come in from prior years. This is an entry that happens every year in that we bring over the carryover, the ending balance from the previous year, we carry it over, and then we have to make some adjustments because we do get some bills that come in the new year that have to be what we call accrued. So Fund 8, number 2, and Capital number 3 are in that same light.
Well, what does that mean with expenditures, South Brunswick Middle School? This is showing, you haven't put that money there for that?
Well,
Is
in
it a
essence-
partial payment or what?
When we look at June 30th and what the remaining balances are in the project, we carry it over.
Okay.
And then we've actually overstated how much we carry over because we weren't aware at that time of a bill that came in July or August that really belonged in June. The accountants, the auditors make us put all the expenditures in the year that the service occurred. So it's moving our books from a cash basis to an accrual basis. I know that probably doesn't make a lot of sense to you, but it's a typical accounting entry that we do every year. It doesn't change the project amounts in any way. In total. The last one is state number 12. This one actually goes to a prior year. I brought you a resolution in June asking for permission to adjust our state records to reflect actual, and that's what this is. Again, this is just an accounting entry. There's no changes to expenditures or amounts that were available to the school district.
Yeah, I was writing down a question I want to answer.
You're actually reconciling a penny.
Every program has got to come down to the penny. They're thorough.
You need to talk a little louder, everybody at that end.
I just asked, there's an item for 1 cent,
Oh,
and I asked quietly if she was reconciling a penny, and she said it was necessary.
have you ever received one of those letters that you owe 8 cents? Is that all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have a question to ask before we vote on that. I would like to know, in fact, I would like it to be written for the board the exact amount of the funds that we have in the capital outlay budget, including those that, I think there are those that stay with the commissioners until we use them. And also, which of those funds are already encumbered?
Yes, ma'am. The CIP, the 5-year CIP that we talk about during budget time, that does that. And I can bring that back and I can explain every pot and how far it's obligated out. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think all the board members need to refresh ourselves on that. Because we want to know exactly how much is in there.
Yes.
Because when we start asking for money for different projects, we need to know, you know, what's in there, how it's going to affect the total amount that's in there.
Should we do that at operations or in a finance committee next time?
Either one is fine.
I think that a full board might want to hear that. All of us, we're all at one of those.
Well, why don't we do it at finance, because that's the last, I believe the last meeting we have next Tuesday. I mean, the last 3 committee meetings.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't you
That'll
think
be at
that-
what time? Is that
Well,
4 o'clock?
that's at 4 o'clock.
We could move it to 3, Ms. Babson, if the board wishes.
That's up to Mr. Thorson, I think.
What is that, on the 18th?
Yeah,
And that's the same night as our PAC meeting.
it would be good then if we could move it
Yeah.
up.
Let's say 3:30.
Okay. Good, because it won't take us long to get to our PAC meeting, it's close. And the PAC meeting's at 6:30. How long do you think it would take for the finance committee?
30 minutes, maybe?
About 30 minutes? Okay, I just want us to have time to have dinner before we went down to the PAC meeting if we could. So we'll work that out if we can. Then we'll just have a sandwich and go on. Okay, I believe that's everything under action. No, we haven't. I'd like to have a motion and second for each one of these budgetary items.
Make a motion to accept the budget as presented.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion is carried. You see under the discussion and announcements by superintendent and board members when the committee meetings are. There are some more meetings and dinners and that type of thing that's going to happen this month. So I guess, Jill, did you put those on the computer for us? I talked with her and I've got them in my calendar, but there's some other meetings you might be interested in. Not regular meetings of the board, but like dinners you've been invited to and several things like that. Okay, we're going in closed session before.
Ms. Babson, I have 1 or 2
Okay, I'm sorry.
things I'd like to mention. Board members, as you know, we're meeting here today at Charlotte Middle School at an earlier hour than the board usually meets, so that we may all attend a 9/11 observance at 7 o'clock here in the front field of the school. I'd like to read a paragraph that Principal Paul Price has written. As principal, I believe that public schools are the temples of democracy. They are a place where individuals of all heritages and faiths come together to learn what it means to be Americans. It is in our public schools that we learn to respect those who are different from us, while learning to appreciate the common American belief in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as stated so well in the Declaration of Independence. Our belief in freedom led to the creation of our current Constitution, to protect rights that are given by our Creator and won by so many who have fought to preserve these ideals. September is a great time to pause and think about who we are as Americans, and to remember those Americans who have died defending these beliefs. I've never heard it said better. than Principal Price.
That is very true.
And he, along with others here, are responsible for the observance that we will all participate in at 7 o'clock tonight. You have at your place a copy of a proclamation by the Governor of North Carolina, Beverly Perdue.
Can't see the words.
It's entitled September 11th, Day of Service and Remembrance. Madam Chair, would you like for me to read the proclamation?
Got other things. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead, this is report.
Whereas on September 11th, 2001, terrorists attacked the United States, leading to the tragic death of thousands of innocent United States citizens, as well as citizens from more than 90 other countries and territories. And whereas in response to the attacks in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, firefighters, police officers, emergency medical technicians, physicians, nurses, military personnel, and other first responders immediately and without concern for their own well-being rose to service in a heroic attempt to protect the lives of those still at risk, consequently saving thousands of men and women. And whereas in the days, weeks, and months following the attacks, thousands of people in the United States and other nations spontaneously volunteered to help support the rescue and recovery efforts, braving both physical and emotional hardship. And whereas hundreds of thousands of brave men and women continue to serve every day, having answered the call to duty as members of our nation's armed forces, with thousands having given their lives or been injured to defend our nation's security and to prevent future terrorist attacks. And whereas North Carolina is home to several important military bases, with hundreds of thousands of active duty men and women and their families in all branches of the service. And whereas North Carolina has been called the most military-friendly state in the nation, and its citizens continue to support our brave men and women in uniform and the veterans that came before them. And whereas the entire nation witnessed and shared in the tragedy of 9/11 and in the immediate aftermath, became unified in a remarkable spirit of service and compassion that inspired and helped heal the nation. And whereas in the years immediately following the 9/11 attacks, the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics documented a marked increase in volunteerism among citizens in the United States. And whereas hundreds of thousands of citizens throughout the United States, as well as others who live in 170 different countries, already observe the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks each year by personally engaging in service, good deeds, and other charitable acts. And whereas families of 9/11 victims, survivors, first responders, rescue and recovery workers, and volunteers called for Congress to pass legislation to formally authorize the establishment of September 11 as an annually recognized National Day of Service and Remembrance, and for the President of the United States to proclaim the day as such. And whereas on March 31st, 2009, Congress passed the Edward M. Kennedy Serve America Act, which included for the first time the authorization and federal recognition of September 11 as a National Day of Service and Remembrance. A bill signed into law on April 21st, 2009 by President Barack Obama, and Congresswoman Doris Matsui introduced a House resolution declaring September 11th, 2009 a National Day of Service and Remembrance. And whereas the state of North Carolina recognizes the courage and sacrifices of veterans and their families since September 11th, 2001, and joins our nation in acknowledging this year's theme, Veterans and Military Families Appreciation. And whereas the state of North Carolina is home to over 792,000 veterans and 147,000 Guard and Reserve members in active service. And whereas 35% of the population is either current military, former military or veteran, or spouse, parent, or dependent of a member or former member of the armed services. And whereas the state of North Carolina encourages citizens to volunteer or to send a personalized thank you in recognition of veterans, as well as current servicemen and women and their families during the 2012 September 11th National Day of Service and Remembrance. Now therefore, I, Beverly Eves Perdue, Governor of the State of North Carolina, do hereby proclaim September 11th Day of Service and Remembrance in North Carolina, and urge all citizens to commit to community service on this day and on an ongoing basis.
Thank you. Excuse me. That certainly was appropriate.
Ms. Babson, I'd like at this time to share with the board some observations on the opening of school and to share with you enrollment information.
Well, same.
It's all the same. The top sheet shows our current membership, and you'll see that we have 12,346 children enrolled in our 19 schools, and that is 51 higher than our DPI projection. The projection sheet is the second sheet, and you can see we were projected to have 12,295 students. The following schools have exceeded their enrollment projection by a considerable number: Belleville, Bolivia, Brunswick Academy, North High, South Middle, Southport Elementary, Town Creek Elementary, and Waccamaw School. And one thing I noticed in just looking at the numbers, our 9th grade enrollment is up considerably, and our 12th grade enrollment is down considerably, and I think that indicates we're getting them through in 4 years. The state expected us to have a few more repeaters, but they have graduated, and I think that's what accounts for the fact that our 9th grade class is higher due to fewer retentions from the middle school, more successful completion of middle school requirements, and also more successful completion of high school requirements. But it's healthy to see. You'd always rather have a few more than expected than fewer than expected, and being 51 over projection is a good way to start the school year. And I'd like to thank all of our teachers, principals, bus drivers, nutrition workers, all of our staff members for contributing to an exceptionally smooth opening of the school year.
Just a comment, Madam Chair. Jessie May, the two schools, elementary schools in my district, Jessie May and Union Elementary, look like the projected membership. They projected more than what's actually there, so. I'm a little surprised about that because I thought we were overcrowded more at Union.
Well, if Union accepted all of the out-of-zone requests, they would have that number and they would be overcrowded. And it's by holding the line that Principal Smith is able to have class sizes that are on the larger side but still comfortable.
I'm trying to determine which schools actually increased as I look at it. You highlight those?
The schools that increased were Belleville, Bolivia, Brunswick Academy, North High School, South Middle, Southport Elementary, Town Creek, and Waccamaw. Some of the projections were right on the money, such as Cedar Grove was 1 student over projection, and Virginia Williamson is 1 student over projection. So they do a pretty good job at DPI. But I think we've had some students return from charter schools to Brunswick County schools, and I think our graduation rate, all those factors can be seen in the numbers.
Do we know what the number is at the charter school?
I don't have that information.
When does the ADM cut off as far as funding?
Is that the 20th day?
Yes, sir.
ADM is calculated on the 20th day.
What was our number last year at Jessie May? Do you know right offhand? Was it more than this? Or?
I'll have to look that up for you, Mr. Miller. We have space available at Jessie May.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it was lower.
And board members, I have an honor for one of our staff members that I'd like to share with you. We are happy to announce that Mr. Bob Grimes has been selected the 2012 North Carolina School Library Media Association Administrator of the Year for his support of school library programs. The award will be presented at the conference luncheon on October 5th at the Benton Convention Center in Winston-Salem. We hope to have a number of our media coordinators attend and support Mr. Grimes in his statewide recognition. I can think of no one better qualified to receive or more deserving of receiving the award than Bob Grimes, because as our board members know, Mr. Grimes is our spiritual and administrative leader of today a reader, tomorrow a leader. He has coached our principals and teachers and reading specialists on ways to help students' reading skills improve and how to improve the circulation of libraries at the elementary, middle, and high school level. He has participated in working with the board in allocating more funds to both improve the quality and number of materials available, books available in our school libraries. And this recognition is well deserved by him, but it also reflects the good work that Brunswick County Schools, a number of people are doing in cooperation with Mr. Grimes to improve the reading skills of our students.
Thank you. Congratulations. Is Mr. Grimes here?
Mr. Grimes is on his way to Raleigh for another meeting, and I told him we would honor him in absentia.
Well, we might need to honor him next
We could do it again
anyway.
next bud. And board members, I know you recall that 3 of our teachers spoke highly of their experience at NCAT at a recent board meeting. And so just for a while, I'd like to inform you when we have teachers that are going to NCAT. And Wendy Jones is going to a program called Sea, Sand, and Human Hands, The Changing Face of the Outer Banks, from October 14th to 18th. Donna Michaud, a teacher at Southport Elementary, will be attending that same week at NCAT. And then Jane Sleece will be attending the 4 C's of 21st Century Education, November 11 through 15. So we're delighted that our teachers are applying for and being accepted to and will attend NCAT programs. And finally, board members, I wonder if you'd like to look at your calendars and determine a date for our next board retreat. We've had good experiences, and board members have expressed they'd like to do it on a quarterly basis.
What are we looking at? In October?
October was good.
I think we could do that at the finance meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
I know there's a lot of medical appointments I have concerning my family, and I might make it on one of those days if I don't have a calendar.
We can certainly do it at a later date.
I would suggest that Jill come up with some dates and let us look at them to see if we all can agree on one. Maybe 3 or 4 days.
We have to do that. Thank you, Ms. Babson.
Dr. Pruden, I just jotted this down, and that's not a good way to, especially with my jotting, to give you something, but I just wanted everyone to know about what happened actually last year, not this year, but 4th of July, when the flag that was flown on the grounds of the Twin Towers came to the 4th of July parade. If you can read it, there it is.
Mrs. Babson last year was chosen the Education Hero for Brunswick County by the 9/11 Commission from New York City. And she rode in the parade on 9/11 and was able to stitch some of the stitches in the flag that flew on the grounds of the Twin Towers.
And there's another person that I think I've written on the top,
And Mr. Harry Martin.
who is a former principal in Brunswick County.
Ms. Babson, that's quite an honor to you and to the board and the school system.
It was an honor, but when I rode on that float and there were policemen from policemen from New York on that float and people from service on that float, I stood up there and I said, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. Not when you compare what they've done, but it was an honor. Okay, I believe that's all except our executive session.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I hear a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.